This week we're going to work on conditionals, and conditionals are computer statements that run under certain conditions. So a conditional could be, let's say I said to you, if the phone rings, then pick it up. So you're only going to pick up the phone if it rings. I could tell you, if it rains, bring an umbrella. So you only bring an umbrella if it rains. I could tell you, if the path is to the right, go to the right. So conditional means you only do it under certain conditions. You're not going to go to the right anytime. You only go to the right if the path is to the right. So let's look at number 12, if else with be. Okay, so we'll skip number 1. You could watch that on your own. And the cloud is blocking the view here. And we want to see what's going to happen if we run this program here. So what's going to happen with this code? So we're going to move forward 3 times. 1, 2, 3, and then if we're at the flower, if at flower, get nectar. So if there's a flower there, you're going to get nectar. So we say, and it's only going to get nectar if there's a flower underneath. Okay, if there's a flower underneath. So we don't know what's here, but we have if there's a flower, get nectar. Okay, let's look at the next one. So they have a question mark here, so you don't know what's here. But you could make a computer program, a computer algorithm, the list of steps to complete this even if you don't know what's there. So let's take a look. The first thing we want to do is move forward 2 times. Okay, and then we want to turn to the right. Okay, now what do we need to do next? We want to go forward, and we want to, let's reset this. We want to go forward, and we want to check to see if there's nectar, because we don't know, because there's a question mark. Okay, it's going to change every time. So we're going to say forward. Where's forward? Forward. And if at flower, get nectar. So let's just try this 1 time. So let's see how this goes. So we'll say forward, forward, right. If at flower, get nectar. So we had the right idea, but we need 2 of them. Look at the next one. So this is a little tricky here. There's many question marks here. So you don't know what's under here. There could be a blank. There could be a flower. You don't know. But we can use our code to solve this problem. So the first thing we always do is we move forward. And then we say, if at flower, get nectar. Now, how many times do we want to do this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Repeat loop 7 times. So if at flower, get nectar. So this one, they give you the flowers here. So they're not question marks anymore. They give you them. Okay, so let's take a look at what you could do with these here. So the first thing you need to do is you need to move forward. Okay, move forward. And we're going to say the same thing. We're going to say, if at flower, get nectar. Okay, now notice this is not going to run if it's a blank, because it's going to say move forward and then check, is there a flower? If there's a flower, get nectar. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll make this repeat. So this if at flower, get nectar, it's only going to get the nectar if there's a flower there. If there's nothing there, it doesn't do it, right? Because it's conditional. You only get the nectar if there's a flower. So let's check how many times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? So this is why conditionals make it easier for us. We don't have to use all these different blocks. We could just make the program say, hey, if there's a flower, get nectar. That's a conditional. Now this one is the same concept, it just has a little bit of a turn. So we learned this from the last one. You move forward, and then if you're at the flower, you get nectar, right? So how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times we're going to do that. Oh, so let's just see how that looks. I'm going to turn to the left. Okay, we're going to turn to the left. And then what we're going to do is we're going to move forward, forward, and then turn to the left again. Forward. And then we're going to turn to the left. So let's see how that goes. Now we're going to do the same thing we just did. We're going to say repeat 6 times. And we're going to say move forward. And we're going to say if at flower, get nectar. Now, notice we went over the blocks here. So this is the same thing here, right? So you could put it here and it will work. Or you could say, hey, wait a minute, this is the same thing. Let me do a nested loop. So we're going to just repeat the entire code again. We'll do that 2 times for a nested loop, and that will complete it. The next one has honey. Okay, so now we have to do a similar conditional, but except this time we have a honeycomb. Okay, so we're going to say move forward. How many times forward? 1, 2. Forward 2 times. If at honeycomb, make honey. Let's take a look at that. So we got that, but we need to go this way as well. So we'll turn to the left. And then we're going to do the same thing again, right? We're going to go say again, forward, forward. If at honeycomb, make honey. Now notice this is the same thing here, right? It's exactly the same. So because it's exactly the same, we could just repeat the whole entire code. You could watch the video on your own for if else. So if else allows you to do a few different things. You could say, if you're out of flower, make honey. I'm sorry, if you're out of flower, get nectar, else make honey. So if and else makes you, gives you the option to do either or. So I could say to you, if the phone rings, pick it up, else do your homework. So you're saying, if the phone rings, pick it up, or if it doesn't ring, then just keep doing your homework. I could tell you, if it rains, bring an umbrella, else bring your sunglasses. So you're saying, hey, if it's raining, bring your umbrella, but if it's not raining, then bring your sunglasses out. So it's the same thing here. We could say forward 2 times. Now we don't know what's here. We don't know, it could be a honey, it could be a flower. So we'll say, if it's at a flower, we'll get nectar. If it's at a honey, we'll make honey. If it's a honeycomb, get honey. So this gives the computer an option here. It gives the computer an option to say either you can get nectar or make honey. So let's look at this one here. You're going to have 3 times. You're going to say forward. If it's at a flower, get nectar or make honey. Then you go again, because it's a 3 times. Forward. If you're at a flower, get nectar or make honey. And then next time. If you're at the flower, go forward. If you're at the flower, get the nectar or make honey. So this is going to work. And we will get nectar at each flower and make honey. So let's try number A. Now this is a challenge puzzle here, and I'll walk you through this. Now notice our conditionals help us to solve these problems. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to move forward. Oh, there we go. And we're going to move forward, and how many times? 1, 2, 3. 3 times forward. 3 times forward. And then what are you going to do here? You're going to say, if you're at a flower, you're going to get nectar, or you're going to make honey. And then what are you going to do next? You're going to turn to the right after that. So let's take a look how that goes. Then we'll do some more. Okay, so that gets us that. Now we need to go 1, 2, 3 times forward. If at flower, get nectar or make honey. Then we turn to the right and we say forward 1, 2, 3. If at a flower, get nectar, else make honey. And then we'll get back here. So what we have to do is we have to repeat the whole thing 4 times. So this is a nested loop here. Loop inside the loop, okay? So we're going to say move forward 3 times. And if you're at the flower, when you get here, you get nectar. If it's not the flower, it's the honey, you're going to make honey. Okay, so let's take a look how that goes. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. So if then else, it makes it a lot easier for us because we don't really know what's under these, but we can give the computer a few options. So let's take a look at this one. This is similar to the one we did earlier, except now it could either be honey or it could be the flower. Okay, so first we're going to move forward. Then we're going to say, if you're at a flower, what can you do? Well, if you're at a flower, you can get nectar. And if you can't get nectar, what else can you do? You make honey. So let's see how that goes. Okay, so it worked 1 time, 2 times, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. So we just now do a repeat loop 7 times. This is very similar to the other one, except we use if, then else. Okay, now we're up to the final one. So a conditional can help us even if there's not a question mark there. So we know what's here. Now here's the problem with this one. They only give us 1 make honey and 1 get nectar, but that's okay. We'll just do it the same way we did the last one. Move forward. If you're at a flower, what do you do if you're at a flower? You get nectar. And what else can you do? Well, if it's not a flower, what else should you do? Well, you should make honey. Okay? And then we do it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Okay, so even if you know what's there, the conditional helps you, the if then else, because it gives the computer an option and it can do it very efficiently. Oh, forgot to make it 7 times. Okay, so that's our section on conditionals with if else.